host Ruth Kerubo. In case you're new here, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Yeah, so today I'm addressing teachers, educators, the tutors, etc. So first I wanted to start with a story that I read somewhere, which is a concern. Yeah, so here is the story. I'm a teacher of biology and chemistry at a day school under the TSC terms. The school is something else. From my observation, the school imeachiliwa, for lack of a better word. Discipline equal 10%. Learners speak mother tongue in school. The admin itself doesn't do about it. You will forward a student over indiscipline and nothing is done. Apparently, all teachers got tired and are just there to get their pay and go home. In as much as I like to ignore, the learners are so indisciplined and go to the extremes to disrupt your lessons. You'll find someone even sleeping during your class, and when you wake them, they go back to sleeping the next minute. Homework, they don't even attempt. Notes, they don't write. During exams, they just write their names on the paper, something that reflects on performance, because we have always had a main of ease in the national exams. Sometimes, when the admin punishes them, like say carry manure or firewood from the farm, they will actually enjoy the punishment, and others who are not to be punished join them. If sent for parents, they'll stay home for a week and sneak in to school unnoticed, and life continues. After class, carrying out duties is another menace, as you will keep following around till it's time to go home. When the admin calls for a clinic, only a handful show up, and they will be like, the meeting should not take long because they need to go back home to milk their kettle. I feel so demotivated at this school, to be honest. I have a candidate class, and the last time I tried to teach during lunch break so we could cover the syllabus on time, guess what? They all walked out of the classroom one by one, and I was left alone. I no longer look forward to coming to work, honestly. I lament ever being a teacher. Sadly, I just finished my 1 year at the workstation. Has anyone been in such, or so I can't request for a transfer yet? Has anyone been in such a workstation before? How did you cope? Yeah, so that is a post made by a teacher who is in a day school, and those are some of the issues that are being faced with, of course, the 100% transition. And I know it can be frustrating, especially for fresh teachers. So to answer the question, has anyone been in such a workstation? For me personally, yes, I've been in such a working station. And how did I cope? I will share right now. Okay, let's start with the teacher. So this teacher works in a day school. So when you're working in a day school, there are different organizations. Like, it's a bit different if you're working in a boarding school. Personally, since I was from a national school, obviously the organization is a bit higher. I got a culture shock, because things are not running the way we expect them to be running. Yeah, you'll find here, yes, the timetable is there, but it's not really adhered to, especially for the extracurricular activities. So that becomes a challenge. Another challenge comes in terms of syllabus coverage. You see, today, the individuals I'm teaching in a day school probably there'll be different individuals I'll be teaching tomorrow. So if someone missed yesterday's class, I will have to repeat tomorrow the class again tomorrow for the students who are there. So the syllabus obviously will be lagging behind. Another issue comes in, as you have heard, about school fees. Being at this school, some even tend not to pay school fees because they're like, education is free in Kenya, so they don't pay, and that means once they're sent home, they just take a long time to come back until they're called back for exams. So obviously, if someone has not been in class, you don't expect them to write anything in their exams. So obviously, that frustration also reflects in their academics. So another challenge is for someone who is in class, sometimes their capability is minimal. There are parents who know they have literally brought their children to school, not necessarily to pass. So if you're a result-oriented person like me, you'll feel frustrated and disappointed because your expectations are up there, so your frustrations will also be more. So in such a case, you get to lower your expectations. Yeah, such parents, you find they have brought their children so that they don't become a menace at home. Some are brought by the chief. So if someone just is coming to school from a point of being forced, it's extrinsic motivation, the chances that they will stay in school are very minimal. So they're just looking for anything that will make them go back home. Yeah. So that is how it is on the ground. Others have come to just grow. Yeah. So that they're 18, they'll be given their land, and life continues. Some, the parents knows that my child doesn't have academic capabilities, but well, what can we do? The education system is like everyone must be in school. So you take your child to school, but I think it's a wastage of time. Why don't you take your child maybe to even a TVET, a polytechnic, so that they can gain skills, hands-on skills that can help them? Because you realize if someone is not academically gifted, they are gifted elsewhere. It could be in sports, music, drama, plumbing, and they do an amazing job. So why don't we use, I think it's just a system problem. Maybe something can be done about it in years to come, but for now, because you have the 100% transition, those are some of the children you'll face on the ground. Some literally don't know even how to write. Okay, I'm a Kiswahili teacher, and I can tell you, even for schools like in Coast, where you expect like Kiswahili is where it's spoken there, they can speak good Kiswahili, but they can't write it. Yeah, I think that comes from a point, maybe they had a poor foundation, or I don't know. So the situation is like that on the ground. So that is about the day school. So those are some of the issues. The boarders have to wake up early, have to sleep late into the night, just to distinguish them from the day scholars. But you find you can literally do nothing more, because the ones who are day scholars miss out. So that's another challenge that comes in. So I appreciate schools to find maybe it's just one gender, um and maybe it's just a day school or a boarding school. But where you find it's a mixed day and boarding school, it becomes even a challenge, because at night, for security purposes, you have to even put maybe the girls together, the boys together, to avoid issues that touch the heart, and misbehavior. So yeah, another thing is learners speak in mother tongue. Okay, talking now as a teacher of Kiswahili, we have language policies in school. And for example, in my former station, the language policy is that you must speak in English from Monday to Thursday. On Friday, you speak in Kiswahili. Failure to that, you will have to do manual work. On top of that, you'll have to go and bring English storybooks to read. Yeah. So what is the essence of enforcing such language policies is because you find in schools, let's say the sub-county and the county schools, the children have an issue of language. So you have to be strict so that at least they can write something. So you can imagine a school that children are speaking, let's say their vernacular language, let's say Kisii, let's say Kiluya, Kigiriama, what, they will be affected. What they'll be writing will reflect also, and that will be to their disadvantage. We don't discourage use of indigenous languages, but there's time and season for everything. I've never gone to an interview where I've been asked to speak in my Kisii. Not even for this one's IEBC or for census whereby you are in that locality. So yeah, maybe if to address the older people, you're somehow expected to speak in the vernacular. I've never. So that's why we tend to encourage use of English and minimal of Kiswahili. Kiswahili is a bit easier to learn than English. So practice makes perfect. So that is generally why we enforce that language policy. We don't have an issue with one speaking in their mother tongue. Actually, I can tell you when I was in high school, we didn't have such a policy. But because we're coming from different parts of the country, for us to have a language that will understand each other, we were forced to use Kiswahili and English. Yeah, maybe when you want to feel at home, that autolytic feeling, speaking to maybe a fellow Kisii, that is when I would use Kisii. So language was never an issue, because people even used to speak in French in Germany because they just wanted to learn the language. Let's say you are in Form 1, you're starting to learn the language, you're going for drama. To learn, you found yourself literally having to speak in that language. So, yeah. The other issue was that admin itself does nothing about it. Let's be honest. Even the administration gets tired along the way, because you'll be trying to bring a change. Unless you're a new administrator, maybe a new principal in a school, that's when it is easier to set standards, right from the word go. You'll be so strict. But if you have been so lenient, then all of a sudden you want to make a change, it becomes impossible. So some have just because even some parents are just ignorant, they will even come and start fighting you. They start making committees in the villages that you need to be evicted from that place, and you have to protect your work, so you just do the bare minimum. Yeah, some even actually don't even come to school just to have boundaries, because the more they see you there, they tend to have that familiarity and they'll do the worst. So the best thing to do in such a case, you somehow tend to avoid clashing with them. Yeah, you are sending them for this, they're not cooperating, you get tired. Yeah. However, I appreciate schools where the community is like, we need to have a change in our community, and they will advocate for that change themselves, so it becomes a bit easier to manage things. So the issue is not even about the administrator, it's just like they're overwhelmed. So maybe I've sent a child for indiscipline home, then they don't come back, the parent doesn't even appear with them, they don't even do a follow-up. So what's the point? You have not helped, so they'd rather be in school. Yeah. You will forward a student over indiscipline and nothing is done. Honestly, I think sometimes you have to do the punishment, or yeah, you have to punish them yourself. However, you also need to know about the Basic Education Framework Act and what it states. You should not do corporal punishment, you should not do caning. So right now it's just about talking, gentle teaching. So if you get to find maybe your class is made up of cholerics, yeah, these people need somehow some pressure for them to act. So it will become a problem. But what do we do? If that is what the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology says, Mwalimu, please teach and go home. Just do your level best. Yeah, because you have to protect your work. And let me tell you, in communities where they don't even cooperate, the moment you'll touch that child is the day that you'll know they are on the ground. They will even take you to the police, my friend. So, by all means, protect your work. Guard your work. It's your best friend after God. Protect your work. Don't pinch. Don't shout. Yeah, that's the standard, because I think we tend to implement things that are beyond us as a nation. We just want to copy paste what is done in developed countries, yet we are not there. We just do things the way, and now since it's already documented, just follow it. If they say don't even slap, please don't. Some of these children are actually weaklings, for lack of a better word. Just beat someone, the next minute they have fainted, they have died. Some have maybe a skin that is very soft. I don't know. Just guard your work. Yeah. So apparently all teachers got tired and they're just there to get their pay and go home. Yeah, what can you do? Sometimes it reaches such a point where even the teachers get demotivated and frustrated. So, but you can decide to be the change, You don't have to be like them. Because I remember there's a time I used to even, I was young in the profession, I used to have these ideas and I'm like, they're just looking at you and they're like, utasoma kwa ground. And yes, I did learn on the ground, because you find that some of the things cannot be even be implemented because the curriculum is overcrowded. So since it's overcrowded, you tend to find that the time is very limited. So we can't be saying that school maybe starts, for the boarders, maybe it starts at 5:30 or 4, they are up, they take their porridge, they do some cleaning, they're in class as early as 6:30. They learn throughout the day, they go for a break, where again, you're doing guidance and counseling at that time. Thereafter, they are going for classes as from 8 until 4. Thereafter, they go for maybe 1 hour break. Thereafter, they are expected to be back for another remedial. Hey, it becomes really hard. They go home, others staying in class. It becomes hard. So if you say you want to introduce things like debates, especially in first term, second term, it doesn't make sense, because they're supposed to be in the field at the same time you want to have consistency in delivering some of the guidance and counseling sessions. So you have to find a balance. Maybe you do the guidance and counseling in the morning. At least you can save 1 or 2. Yeah, you can have remnants. You can't overgeneralize and say this is a lost generation. So you try to identify people who are willing to be helped and do your best. Obviously you'll be back slashed and they'll be saying, that is your favorite, oh, that's a teacher's pet. But now they are forced you to. So the person who are willing to learn, you give them extra attention, give them exercises, let them do. At least they'll keep you happier or engaged. Sometimes you're just there sitting, no one is coming for consultation. You're like, I'm here. So you just have to find, maybe even go to class literally if they fear coming to the staff room, because the staff rooms have to be guarded. So you have to find a balance, get to them, go to the field, have a place that is a safe ground for them even to open up. The other issue the teacher raised is that the students are indisciplined to the extent that they can disrupt your class. Okay, I've never had such a scenario, but I can say it all boils down to classroom management. You have to be firm, yes, and consistent. If you said, if you come 5 minutes late into my class, just stay outside. I know you'll be told by the administrators, the principals, the HOIs that, oh, you should not even send these children outside. They have, I don't know, low self-esteem, nini nini, sijui they'll go and hang up themselves. Let them go and hang themselves, because you cannot be indisciplined and expect to even receive results. Yeah. So if you say that if you have come to class 5 minutes late, just be there or be in my class, but maybe be kneeling. So they will get to understand the language right from the word go. Be firm, be strict. Um, for those maybe who like making noise, you will maybe be forced to have a new classroom arrangement for your lesson if you are not the class teacher for that class, so that you get to identify the culprits and they have to be near you. So, and they know, actually what I know is that bullies are what is the correct word? Bullies are fearful. Yeah. So in as much as they will want to bully you, they also fear the consequences. So you put them near, in the front line, so that they cannot be disrupting your lessons. For those who are like, please teacher, may I go out, you have to limit that. Yeah. And instead encourage an active lesson. They have to talk, know their names, so that you'll be calling out Nyakundi, Kerubo. Yeah. So over time they'll be like, oh, so the teacher knows me. Most misbehave because they know you don't even know their name, you'll not forward them, you'll not do anything. So from the word go, set the standards for your class. Let them know what the consequences are. So another thing the teacher has raised is about sleeping in class. So I've ever faced that situation. Personally, I've ever slept in class, especially the chemistry classes, and it's not like I had negative attitude. Sometimes, maybe because I'm a person who is a night owl, you will find me writing notes late into the night. So during the day, I'm not that active. So sometimes it happens. There are children or learners, they don't okay, during the day they have done so much, especially in boarding schools. You find they woke up so early. I remember there was a time we were sleeping almost half of the class when we used to have the interclass dramas in high school. So you'll find that we practiced late, maybe into 2 p.m. a.m. sorry. So by the time we are waking up, coming to class, almost the whole class is literally tired and we have no option but to sleep. So we ever did that in one of the geography lessons, and the teacher gave us time and we slept. And we are forever thankful to her, Madame Bourget. But we promised her, in as much as we're going to use her lesson to sleep, we are going to compensate by writing notes and having a class rep. How did we used to call them? Class promoter for that subject to come, and we do revision, then she'll just come and do a top up. Yeah. So you just have to find out why they are sleeping. Now as a teacher, I've ever faced that challenge, and I realized when I was asking the children, why are you sleeping in class, they're like, the school schedule is so tight, they have to wake up so early, and they are young minds, so sometimes they tend to be fatigued by both classwork as well as the early waking up. So what I did during the staff meetings, I raised the issue, so it was not received positively, and so the routine had to continue, because what can I do? And because the school is not mine, you're like, I've done my level best, so I'm free. I don't have any guilt. So because I remember what the HOI said is, perhaps your teaching methodology is not correct. Wow. But I've given you the reason as to why the children are saying they're sleeping in class, so it has got nothing to do with me. But fine, if it has something got to do with you, maybe you can change your methodology so that it can be learner based. It could be student based approaches. You engage them in field trips. You just do even a short excursion within the school. You can as well as do the focused group discussions, guided discussions. They can go and do demonstrations so that they are engaged, they're not sleeping. Yeah, because sometimes when you're the only one there in class, you're teaching, talking, it gets monotonous. So to break that class monotony, you just have to do something about it. Another way of dealing with sleeping, because it's inevitable. I don't know, usingizi utoka wapi? Mtu anaweza lala class, then right now when we are maybe right now we are in the holidays, usingizi haupo, inapotea tu. So talk to them, tell them there's a time and season for everything. Yeah, you have to tell them that and be firm. Because I can remember in high school I used to have that issue of waking up. Sometimes I even got punished by the late Mrs. Mengech. I don't know whether I used to find the punishments okay or not, but yeah, sometimes they could rain, because I still remember that it was not okay for me to oversleep. Yeah. So you have to tell them this time and season for everything. For those who you have woken them up and they have gone back to sleep, you have to find a way to deal with them. For example, make them stand on their lockers. Alternatively, they can stand at the back of the class, because sleeping is very contagious. The moment one individual is sleeping and you don't get to act upon that, mwalimu, you are in total danger. They'll continue sleeping. Another one will sleep. And if you now go to the person who you have noticed is sleeping, they'll be like, mwalimu, you are not fair. So and so was sleeping last time, you never woke them up, you never punished them, so you are unfair. So you need to be very firm from the word go. Yeah. And there is no negotiation for that. So be consistent in how you deal with such situations. Another reason as to why they could be sleeping, someone could be sick. Yeah, we have had situations whereby a student falls sick in class and they even die. So you have to know why that student is sleeping in a class. If they are sick, a classroom is not a hospital. Yeah, just arrange whatever the method that is used in your school, use it so that they can get to be exited and get the medication, especially in this season whereby, like in Kenya, there is no insurance as it used to be. You could use the name is what. Right now it's not there. So release that child so that they get medication. If you have a sanatorium in your school, well and good, so that the nurse can even do first aid, then thereafter call the parent and they can be given further Medicare. Yeah. So the other issue this teacher raised is homework is not attempted. So there's a reason as to why they could not be attempting that assignment. Maybe, especially for a day school, maybe there's no power at home, like in my former station. So what they decided to do is that we had a generator running. So for the interested parties, they will come. So they have no other excuse now to say, I didn't do the assignment because there was no power at home. We didn't have mafuta ya taa. So now you have a reason to go ahead and tell them now you have to be responsible for your mistakes. So this is sheer laziness. Yeah. So you try to address those issues. Sometimes maybe they never understood, so you will have to repeat the content. Sometimes you'll there's a time I remember I never did my homework in class 8. My friend, I was forced to go and sit near the staff room and do that assignment during lesson time. Ever since, I don't remember failing to do the assignment for that teacher. Yeah, so it's up to you to see how you can manage that. Sometimes you will have to make them sit and do that assignment in your class as others are learning. Sometimes you will have to find a way for them to do the assignment. Maybe you do an example and they do the rest. Again, you'll have to talk to them so that they know the consequences of not doing the assignments, so that they don't do like just to please you. Because there's another lot. If you're not careful, mwalimu, they'll be doing assignments, but it's copied. They never understood the concept. They copied from someone else. So you'll need to be careful as you are marking to ensure every person has got the answer right and they have mastered that concept. It makes no sense for you to copy, then I think you have understood the concept, then in the exams you find you had no idea even how that thing is copied. So you have to be careful. So it's not only about attempting, but you also have to be careful about those who have attempted yet they have stolen. So find a balance, and that means you have to know each child's capability, yeah, and get to revise in class so that they know how the work goes. Yeah. Another thing, they don't write notes. So in such a case, you might have to supplement with class notes. That's another technique I learned from one of the madams, Madam Irene. She told me sometimes these children don't know how to write notes. So I don't know, maybe you can, if they have the text, maybe they don't have the textbook, so you'll have to make an arrangement with the librarian so that they have the textbooks, even if it means replicating the textbook, because the moment they start writing, the content somehow will be reinforced. They'll even get to know how the spellings is done. Yeah, how do you get to write these things? They will get to even see the diagrams that are there, so somehow they'll pick something. Sometimes you'll have, while you're teaching, make notes, because you are modeling them. You have to make some short notes for them to copy, or give handouts. Yeah, that's another thing you can decide to do. Yeah, and be following up. Have a notes checklist. I believe everyone knows, if you're TSC registered, you know what is expected of you. Those are some of the things that you need to keep as professional documents. A checklist of how they are doing their notes, how far they are. Yeah. If they're doing a good job, also get to compliment them. Another issue he or she raised is that during exams, they just write their names and continue sleeping. I've seen this. Sometimes you'll have to wake them up and force them to write. Yeah, because if you're just writing your name, it means you are already signing up for an E. You're already signing up for failure. So try to encourage them, talk to them, yeah, and tell them to attempt. Because even by guesswork, you tend to find you can get a mark. So tell them how even 0.5, maybe you have attempted, you have got a half a mark for 5 questions or 10 questions. That's already 5 marks. It's better than nothing. Also get the admin to be working. Here is where we now need teamwork, because the admin sets pace. Even right from writing maybe the expected mean on the walls, so that they know when you're coming to this school, you're not just coming here because you had no other option. There's a means score that has to be met. Yeah. So they start knowing what is expected of them. Sometimes you'll have to do benchmarking. They go to other schools and get to know even how questions are answered. How do you respond? Yeah. This is the reason why in 4th form we now get to call in facilitators, yeah, the examiners, the markers, so that they talk to them, they get to tell them about the examination language and how they're supposed to respond to such questions. Yeah. But the main thing is, if you don't, you must master the content for you to be able to reproduce it during the exams. Yeah. So mwalimu, you also have a duty to facilitate thorough revision. Though some will still disappoint you, but at least if you get one or two, it's fine. Yeah. Another thing is that the school has been having a mean of E. That's very unfortunate, but you know, it starts from the school culture itself. Yeah. So you have to stop being obsessed with the means. Sometimes you just even have to look at other areas where they're good at, like drama, music. Yeah, at least it will give you some hope. Yeah. Another thing is about the issue where you're punishing some, maybe they go and the rest are joining them. So this happens because for them they believe in teamwork. Yeah, so you need to find a way of using that teamwork. You give them works, academic work in groups, give them work to do, even manual work. Yeah, just as they show that teamwork. Because I can tell you, even if today you found the class was making noise and you ask the class representative to give you the names, he or she won't give you, because he will become an enemy. So what they decide is that they decide to either the monitor or the prefect to die for them, or they suffer as a team. So when they are suffering as a team, it also becomes problematic because they'll be making more noise, and you might be forced to even pick some, and in the process, that's how you find even the innocent ones going for expulsions and suspensions. So you have to talk to them about not having a sheep mentality or following the crowd. So yeah, that's another thing that you need to address as a teacher. Higher, if they're sent for a parent, they'll stay home for a week and sneak in a notice. So that is an issue with the administration. And the class teacher, yeah, so the class teachers, they continue marking the register. They know who was absent and why. So whenever this individual will be in class, they need to ask for the official permission. How did they get in class? So the clearance has to be given for them to be allowed in class. Because I can tell you, even the person who has been sent home, when they sneak in and they know they have not reported to your class, probably they'll be vegetative, they'll be uncomfortable, they'll want to run away. So you have to find a way to ensure that the right protocols and procedures are followed in a school, because that's not a toilet. Even a toilet, you have to knock in before you enter. You have to flush after coming out. Yeah. So that is it. After classes, carrying out duties is another menace, as you'll keep following around till it's time to go home. So here you have to engage the prefects themselves. Don't have to do everything. You'll get exhausted. I remember I used to even model. I'm like, I want you to sweep, and I have to show them how to sweep. But you find you get so tired by the end of that week when you are the TOD. So just find a way to use the prefects to man the ground. Then you just come to supervise. Make your work easier. Stop frustrating yourself. Yeah. Also, there's this issue where you find some are unoccupied and they will be carrying their bags around their backs until it's time. They'll be walking around making stories. They need to be engaged, maybe with the discussion groups during that time, so that they're busy, or extracurricular activities. They go to the field and run, practice, what makes them a bit engaged and happy, instead of just running. There's some who are just there, so you just have to even talk to them, call them out, so that they can serve as examples to the rest. Another thing is that when you call for meetings, you find majority don't come. Now that's a school from hell, because I don't understand, when someone has invested, there their heart must be, so they need to come. There's no time I remember my parents failed to come for these meetings, the conference, the clinic, because they invested, But where you find that people are used to free things, hello son, mambo, hey, yeah. So where you find people are finding free things, where Valerian, I'm shooting. Where you find they are getting free things, they tend to take it for granted. They don't come. I also noticed some would, because they're coming from an extended family, they will just send an aunt to represent even over 10 children. So it means it becomes a strain, because this one parent will have to move to every teacher, for every subject teacher, for each individual. So it becomes exhausting. So in such a case, the administration needs to be tough, that every student needs to come with a parent to man. Failure to that, it means the community is now lost. That social mentality will also be reflected. And we always say, show me the student and I'll show you their parent. A disciplined parent, chances are they will have a disciplined child. An indisciplined parent will have an indisciplined child. Just the way, because the children are observing, yeah, values are caught and not taught. So yeah, you just need to to either normalize seeing that, or just have a way of dealing with that. Also, there is need to be giving maybe communication earlier, so that someone could slot in space. About the issue of time management here, why should you drag a whole day? Just let the system be fast enough. Another thing is that I have a candidate class, and the last time I tried to teach during lunch break, they walked out on this teacher. Mwalimu, teach within the stipulated time. Yeah, syllabus coverage needs to be at par, but sometimes you just have to find other ways to finish that syllabus. Personally, I've gone to a station where you find it's a candidate class, they are still in Form 3 work, and it's headed towards second term, you have not even started Form 4 work. I had to find a way to finish the syllabus. What did I do? Because I requested for extra classes, they refused. Because for me it was free work I wanted to do, I was willing. It was not going to be paid. But they refused, they didn't want the weekends. Fine. So I started doing my part. I make sure I give them notes, questions, at least they will have an overview what has been taught. I had to use videos from my own resources, and are able to finish the syllabus. Along the way, they also came to realize I'm committed, I'm dedicated to finish their syllabus, so that they will have confidence. And not only confidence that they have been taught, but they can also have a variety of questions to choose from. If you haven't covered the syllabus adequately, it even limits you on the questions to answer. So I had to do my level best to ensure they have finished the syllabus. For a person who is wise, they can get even to start specializing the questions that they will want to do. Yeah. So we struggled along the way. Yeah, they realized you're committed, and when I started asking them for extra classes, they accepted. At night they will come. For those who came, because it was a small class, around 9 students, at least if you found 5, that's good enough. They will take the message. We also had to liaise with the administration to bring in revision books, kina top mark nini, and they were helpful. Top grade nini nini. Yeah, they, how is it called? the KCSE made familiar, and they were able to use that to finish the syllabus and at least to get exposed on the questions they should expect and how they are set. So yeah, syllabus coverage, do it within the stipulated time unless you want to give more, obviously, which is unappreciated. You just have to do the extra mile, and that depends whether you have a heart for those students. Because for me, I used to feel for them. I had to give in my level best. I got to ask them where they had issues, and they started opening up, and we worked on that, and it now became easier for us to manage. Yeah, that's what I did. Huh. Okay, about time management, I think we should revisit. If you have maybe 40 minutes, you have to use the first 5 minutes maybe to do an introduction for the body, the 30 minutes. The next 5 minutes, use them for giving assignment, doing a recap of the lesson, whether they understood or not, so that it becomes even easier for you as a teacher to evaluate yourself. Don't go there and start preaching. Yeah, so utilize time properly. Yeah, and be innovative and creative while teaching. That's all I can say. Because the moment you maybe eat in 5 minutes to another teacher's lesson, it will disrupt everything. The whole school schedule will be affected, because there are things they need to do. Maybe it was break time, you have eaten to their break. It means the next teacher who will be teaching after that break, some of their minutes will be eaten into, because we are human. We need to go to the toilet, we need to stretch a bit. So let's be human also. And as much as we want to, we are ambitious about finishing the syllabus, let's be fair to other teachers also. The other question is, I just finished my 1 year, so I can't request for a transfer yet. That's not necessarily the case. You can always seek for a transfer, though it's a bit hectic, but you can even request for a swap. That was it. So in generally, this is to say, we have such schools, we have such students, and we just have to treat them. There's a reason as to why you're there, and you're supposed to make an impact. So find purpose in that environment, no matter how demotivating and frustrating it can be. Yeah, find purpose. Maybe just because at the end of the day, the duty of a teacher is to impact, by imparting skills, attitudes, and knowledge. If you cannot be able to impart knowledge today, at least change their attitude. Love them. Just even being nice to them. Yeah, even learning to say sorry. So it's not all about teaching. Sometimes you have to do the opposite. Another thing that I wrote here is that adhere to the timetable, adhere to the duties that you're meant to do. Another thing, salvage the remnant. And this takes me to a song that I love so much. Rescue the perishing, care for the dying. Na 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 na, to save. Jesus can save. So do your best. Do your part. Do your level best. It might seem that it is in vain, but for sure you'll have saved one or two. As I was reading the comments on that post, you could see someone who said that for though there were remnants who are saved, while others are resting. So for whoever takes cancel, chances are they'll be saved. But for those who don't want, if they decide to get lost, they'll get lost. But at least you'll be free because you've done your part. So just do your level best, mwalimu, and you'll be free even from self-blame. You'll not be feeling guilty. You'll know you absolutely did what is supposed to be done. What else? I wrote that you need to work as a team. Others have given up. It could be an uphill task. Now you're wanting to change the things as a lone person, but it's good to engage as a team. Yeah, do your level best. Even as you want to take a transfer, who do you want to come here? So you just have to find purpose, like I've said, so that there can be a change in that thing. Yeah. Another thing is address perennial ignorance and sheep mentality by even creating a good rapport with the community members so that they can even come for mentorship. Also, start reading to these children, because some you find they have become resigned because they have been told you cannot achieve, you are what? This name calling. You have to change the narrative by even telling them you're capable. Have affirmation, especially if you have an opportunity to be a class teacher. Have affirmations where you're telling them I'm right, I'm smart, I'm loved. Yeah, it will boost their self-esteem at least. For those who are sleeping in class, have an active, maybe set induction. They can be jogging in class. Let them go around. Yeah. Yeah, and you can even decide to make it harder. Negative reinforcement. You decide they are even sleeping at the assembly ground. They will not sleep again. So you just have to find a way to deal with indiscipline. Another thing that I wrote is about checking notes and having a Siberia. And that is why I've said these things actually need teamwork from the stakeholders. So that if we are saying we are checking notes, we are checking as all teachers, of course, under the leadership of maybe the director of studies, the dean of studies, the DOS. Yeah. So they need to set the ground so that you check the notes. Some actually, you could even send them for dictionary, kamusi, a set, a ruler, and they go forever. So you need to find why. But still, you'll find this person has a phone that is equivalent to your salary. Yeah. So you need to find them why they are demotivated, so you get to be talking to them time and again on the importance of education. Yeah. Another thing, have mentorship clubs where they can be mentored. Yeah, especially in a community where you find maybe we have teenage marriages. A lot of mentorship needs to be done, because otherwise, if it's not done, there'll be that cycle of poverty, vicious cycle of poverty. So that needs to be addressed also. Also have sensitization and coaching of the students. Yeah. And in this case, always ensure to emphasize on a paradigm shift through talking with them, so that they know they are competing with themselves. The world is a very competitive and dynamic place to be, especially in the 21st century. So if you are given the opportunity, tell them they better utilize it than squander it and then regret later in life. So if you have the opportunity, give them good counsel. Tell them to be self-driven and to have self-belief. Let's also avoid the academic harassment where we overburden them. Instead of even giving assignment, which is maybe 10 pages of writing notes, just even tell them to find a revisional book with a question. They write the question and the answers from the back. Sometimes you're forced, even for inches, if they're not creative, to copy the very inches that are on the textbook. They write them, so that at least when they're coming to revise, they can have a clue on how an ideal essay should look like. Yeah. So just be creative and come to their level. Yeah, don't be condemning them. Yeah, wajinga nini? No. Another thing, we need to stop comparing them, especially as teachers. I would be like, what would have the big schools done? It doesn't help sometimes. You just have to tailor the delivery to their level. Yeah, so let's stop comparing, because it gives undue pressure to you, both you as the teacher and the learners. Also, teach them about overcoming hurdles and being trailblazers. Yeah, that's a very important lesson that they need to get. So, is there anything that I've left? So yeah, as a teacher, choose you. You come first, because the truth be told, even if you dropped dead today, even before your, how do you call it, casualty starts to be processed, there will already be an advert for someone to replace you. So choose yourself. Do self-care, pray, guard your heart, be busy, be busy, yeah, to develop yourself. Because sometimes hata unakaa mjinga, because if you're not even asked challenging question, it becomes monotonous and you become frustrated and demotivated. Find things that challenge you. Even start a business, so that after work you have a place to use your energy, so that you don't have a lot of time to be lamenting and lamenting. You have to be the change that you want. You have to find things that challenge you. Maybe even enroll for a master's, enroll for an online class. Just go for things that will benefit you. If you have been interested maybe in let's say girl guiding, go and find a way to enter that. Find things that can source you money. If your motivation was money, and then this money is not forthcoming from buying of grades, especially if you're a science teacher, sometimes you, science and math, you might not find those grades to earn you the most amount of money. So you'll have to find other ways to, avenues to make money outside of the grades, like maybe supervision, invigilation, marking, going for facilitation, yeah, how do we call this, coaching, being a referee, maybe for volleyball, whatever interests you. Just find other avenues to make money, being a broker, yeah, so that you eliminate the excess energy. Because truth be told, if you cannot beat them, you'll be forced to join them. So if you find such a school and it is you feel like it's a criminal den, the more you immerse yourself in such an environment, chances are you're going to be the next criminal, because you now start being an absentee. You're feeling demotivated, you don't feel coming. So just find a way, find purpose to get out of that space, or how to better your situation. Yeah, also try to be creative, use questions, do peer teaching, instead of just having a boring class where you're just talking. Sometimes you need a break, yeah, so that you don't get demotivated. You can even take unpaid leave to go and do your work. Yeah, otherwise I hope we have shared a lot during this live. I'm seeing Kenny Cells, who told me you're hot. Thank you for that feedback. You also said you have a OF account. What is that? I don't know what OF account is, but that is it. Thank you for subscribing. I look forward to hearing from you next time. So in the next video, I wanted us to do the do's and don'ts as far as financial management of teachers is concerned. Please stay tuned. Yeah, and don't forget to share so that this information gets to be viral. So if you're a teacher and you're in this situation, you're in the so-called 60 world schools, take heart. You never know, your breakthrough could be from there. Focus on the big picture. Do your level best. Do the right thing. Yeah, to guard your work. And try to salvage what can be salvaged. If you're not able, let's also not limit ourselves to the teacher service commission. I hear some of you saying it's the teacher suffering center. Don't know how true it is, but let's also be open to other opportunities. There are opportunities waiting for us educators to grab. So if you're feeling test is not working for you, you're forcing yourself, just be open to other opportunities. You can go teach abroad. Yeah, but that means you also have to change your attitude. Yeah, until next time, I've been your host Ruth Kerubo. Don't forget to use ICT. By the way, that's a breakthrough. I remember using that Bluetooth. I play them some music they will enjoy. So find a way to use ICT to make your lessons interesting, fun, and as short as possible and memorable. So until next time, bye.